You've got the choice of rewind to 18 years old or $100,000 right now. Which one and why? Kinda depends. If rewind to 18 means I forget all the lessons I learned, then no point going back, just going to make the same mistakes again. So I take 100k now and improve my future the experience I have gained. If however rewind means go back to 18 with full knowledge and experience, then I'll go back to 18 and come out being much better. $100,000, since going back in time implies the life I have now may or may not ever happen, butterfly effect and all that. I don't want to gamble on the unknown and possibly end up in a dead-end marriage or shit job I hate, etc. I'm happy with my marriage and my kids and wouldn't want to go back to a time before any of them were in my life. Making everything work out the same would be challenging, but I know enough to get the things I want. I know where to find my wife. I know when to change schools and what to do. I also know what not to spend money on, etc. Do everything the same from 2004 to 2008. Graduate on time. Don't take that one class with that one professor. Enjoy myself a little more. I know what stocks to pick and when to get out before the crash. I know what stocks to stay in, and which ones to buy at the bottom. By 2009 I'd be able to not work and simply ride stock bets, living on margin until I can buy in bottom level on Bitcoin once I can as a retirement fund and TSLA, once it was listed, as a cash out and live well fund when it hit $800 a few months ago. I don't have a kid I have to worry about erasing, so that helps a lot. Honestly same, but with what I want in life that might not be enough to pay for it. I want to be a vet. Thankfully I was smart enough to get college credits in high school and got a whole year knocked off. I'm going to community college now, just to get more knocked off before I head off to university to get my bachelor's in zoology before trying my absolute hardest onto getting into vet school. It's gonna be a long journey, but I'm stubborn enough and I'm not gonna stop until I get to the end, and I'm holding my doctorate in vet med. I'm 27 and I would have a fucking mental breakdown if I woke up and it was the morning of my 18th birthday. Not saying I went through anything traumatic or anything, but I worked hard as shit to get where I am today and would lose it if I had to it all over again. I'm way happier now than I was then. I'm in such a good spot in life, and I get 100k, I'm staying for damn sure. 18. Assuming I get to keep all my knowledge. My primary reason for this was going to be that I really didn't understand how quickly time starts moving and really squandered my 20s just half-assing certain pursuits, feeling like I had all the time in the world. Now that I make the caveat though, I've just realized I could make an absolute fortune on the betting markets anyway. How does this work? Does my current mind with all my current memories get transported by to my 18-year-old body at the time when I was 18, 2004 to 2005, or do I just get aged in the present day to 18? If it's the former, then absolutely go back to 18 years old. If I have my present memories, I could easily invest in something that I know is going to take off. Buy a fuck ton of Bitcoin when it first comes out, for example, or stock in Facebook. I'd easily have much more than $100,000 by now. If I'm just aged to 18 years old but everything else is the same, I'd probably take the money. Because I am who I am now because of my past, for better or worse, and going back does not guarantee I won't mess a different aspect of my life that I like now. Heck, going back does not guarantee I will reach my current age. So, bring in the money and I will take my share of bad decisions, or good. I have been pretty lucky. I think I have done most of it, but I don't think I could be where I am without some amount of luck. I'll take the cash. Plus, we aren't rich, but I have a beautiful wife that gets me, and 3 amazing kids plus 2 grandkids. I wouldn't trade any of them for anything. I really do consider myself lucky. In turn, we do grow from our mistakes. I don't think I am smarter, but I'm wiser. It depends. If I rewound to 18 without the knowledge I have now, I'd rather take the $100,000. I'd just make the same F-ups and wind up back here in the same situation anyways. If I rewound to 18 with the knowledge I have now though, I'd mash that rewind button. I could plan it so that I was able to take advantage of the good things that happen still but avoid the F-ups. If I can retain the knowledge I now have, I'd rewind 18 years. If not, I'd take the $100,000. Rewind 18 years with intact memories. I can avoid a lot of the mistakes I've made in my life, especially with my health and personal choices. Starting my self-managed retirement fund 18 years earlier would be massive, and the chance of getting in on Bitcoin, and crypto in general, in the front door is enticing. If I can't have those intact memories on a rewind, $100,000 would go a long way to fixing me up financially at the very least, so I'm not scrapping paycheck to paycheck. I wouldn't be flush, but I sure wouldn't be stressing where the money for a car repair or urgent bill is coming from. If the choice was rewind to 18 or give me $1 trillion, the world's first trillionaire, I would pick 18. Going back to 2005, with all of the knowledge I have today, would easily make me a millionaire many times over, maybe a billionaire, and I would have a chance to not fuck up my 20s while being extremely wealthy. Really, other than people that have kids, why wouldn't you go back to 18? Even if you do have kids, you're not killing them. They just literally never existed, assuming that's how time travel works. Depends. Do we get to keep our current knowledge and recollection of past events? If so, 18 years all day. I'd be 13, convinced that to invest in a few select companies and stocks, get to see my grandparents on both sides again, avoid getting shot, tell my ex to fuck off, etc. When I'd miss my nephew, but it'd be worth it personally. 18. But only if I get to go back with what I know now. I could take school seriously, stop my cousin from taking his life, learn how to mine Bitcoin in 2009-2010, have a bit more fun in my 20s and not waste money on dumb shit, get the fuck out of the pharmacy job I wasted a solid 15 years at, invest in so many companies in the OOs, Netflix, Apple, Google, Amazon, Tesla. It's like the ultimate cheat code. I'd be going back to the early 2000s, so I might pick up a couple sports cards too. A Brady rookie, one of the LeBron rookie cards that are selling for 6 figures. Might as well bet on a few of the bigger games and series as well. I wonder what picking the Cavs to win after they went down 3-1 would have paid. And the Giants, Pats Super Bowl when the Pats were undefeated. Always the alternative to going back in time. No one thinks about the psychological impact of appearing X number of years ago with your memories until now intact, and what would be the point if you remember nothing? It's been 18 years since I was 18, half my life. More than that if you consider that I remember little before the age of 10. I've lived in another country for a decade, have been in a relationship for 14 years, married 9. And have a child. Am I supposed to just go back to my room in my parents' house, following their rules? I'm almost as old now as they were then. These last 18 years have felt like a long time. I don't want to do them again. Sure, I'd be a mature man in a teenage body and potentially much more driven and rational, not to mention emotionally sound, and aware of what I'm capable of, but it just sounds like crap to me to have to go through being young again. When you're young no one listens to or respects you. I'm old enough now that men twice my age consider me more or less a peer. I have a friend almost 10 years older than my dad. I've earned that age recognition and I like it. I'm not going back to being the kid. I'd also be bored. I'm a pretty sedentary guy and I don't think being 18 again would change that. I was actually fatter then than I am now. However, I'd have already seen most of the shows and movies I'd ever want to see over the following 18 years. Played virtually all of the good games to death already. I guess I could get more into music and there are certainly more books than anyone can read in a lifetime out there, but nah. 18 years no doubt. I could erase the awful marriage and get help with alcohol. If we're assuming that I keep my current knowledge, I'd get more focused education and buy more than 5 shares of Nvidia at $25 per. Like a lot more. I can avoid ruining my life and seek actual happiness, whereas these days it's a kaleidoscope of misery and missed opportunities and ruination. If there was a pill to end it all, I would take it. Oh well. Thank God I'm a coward and just keep on keeping on. The money. I enjoyed my 20s, and I'm sure if I retained my knowledge of the future I could set myself up with a nice life. But I have a daughter and there's no guarantee that the same sperm would fertilize the same egg. I'd spend the next 11 years of my life stressing over the thought that if I changed anything, no matter how small, she wouldn't exist. Having had her in my life, and then doing something that would make her not exist, that would completely break me. If you go back to 18 years old, how do you know you are equipped enough to make the better decisions along the way? How do you know that you can guarantee yourself a better future? Sure, you can be filthy rich by buying stocks, but how do you know the consequences of that in your life? So many things happen that are not in our field of vision. Next thing you know, you fucked up again, and possibly worse than when you didn't go back. I'll take $100,000, thank you. 100K. I'm only 21. I don't need to redo the last 3 years because they've already seen massive improvements for me. Knowing with certainty I can afford my apartment for my last years of college and getting a nice little shitbox car, maybe second or third gen Impreza WRX wagon or a Miata, to Mad in the future would be a huge improvement again. 18. I do love my life now, but although 100K would be nice, I'm not hurting for money, and don't have debt. It'd clear. It'd be nice, but not life-changing. I think it helps that I had a privileged, relatively easy life. For sure there were tough times, but most of it happened before 18, so honestly the only really bad thing I'd have to relive would be losing my dad again. And hey, as bad as that night was, now I'd know, and even if I couldn't do anything, I sure as hell could spend even more time with him around that time. $100,000. The main thing I like less about my life right now compared to 18 is money. At 18 I was working a shitty job, going to a college I didn't want to go to, studying a field I didn't want to study, dating a girl who would later cheat on me, and had undiagnosed mental illnesses that I didn't know were manifesting the way they did. Now I'm do work I care about, I'm married to an amazing woman, and I have tools to manage my mental health. Just need more money. I think I'd pick 18, and then if there's a second selection screen, I'd want to not change a thing. I met my wife at 19. I don't want to screw that up in any way. And I also would love to go through that all again. That kind of love that feels unfiltered and just overflowing from the heart is something I've only ever felt when I realized that I loved her. Don't get me wrong, I love her more today than I did yesterday, and I'll love her even more tomorrow. However, that young love will never come again for me. The beginning with the will she/won't she thoughts. The first time we kissed, the one night after we got out of our play rehearsal, took a walk through some woods, sang whatever song came in our heads, and then held each other as it started to rain. Man, that's still the best night of my life, and I don't ever want an existence without it. But I'd love to feel it all again. P.S. We'll be married for 10 years this fall. Rewind to 18 would put me in 2012. It would also give me time to tell my dad that he'll have testicular cancer, and save him a lot of trouble. He's fine now, but still recovering from the after effects of his hospital stays. Would let me repair a friendship with a close friend before I tanked it and they cut off contact, for good reason. I've got a lot of regrets tied up in that I'm likely to never have closure on. Not sure that I deserve that closure, either. 18 years old. First, the $100,000 would be pointless to take as an option. BC I could literally just funnel what little money I had into Bitcoin while it wasn't worth very much and sell it in summer 2016 and get way more. But even with money not as an option, 18 years old. Without hesitation, I've completely fucked my life in a way I'll be dealing with for a good while. I spent 6.5 years in college only to fail out at the last moment. I spent the entire time doing a degree I hated after transferring from a college I absolutely loved to one I hated just to be closer to my then partner, only to break up a couple of years later. I dealt with addiction problems and abuse and a whole host of other unpleasant shit. I'm stuck doing a shitty-ass warehouse job with no real end in sight. I can't afford to do anything that pays less, but I don't have any real ability to get anything better. I'd kill for a redo. 18. Without a doubt, especially if I know what I know now, I'd take so much better care of myself, mentally. I always thought I was worthless, that I wasn't good enough, that everyone else's time and health and being were more important than mine. I was so very wrong. I'd take care of me first, because 20 years later, I finally know what it's like to really, really love myself, and I wouldn't let anyone get in the way of that for one more moment. 100K. I'm happy with my life, love my husband and daughter, all the experiences in between, good with my job. 100K would pay off car loans, credit debt, and school loans, leaving $30,000 to invest some, slip some in savings, pay a bit towards the house, plus we'd have about $1,500 per month not going towards the original debts. Spouse has been so banking that and planning for future would hopefully put us in a secure-ish place. Nothing is ever a guarantee, of course. 100K. I think I could do better with money now than I could do in life then. To give slightly different info, there's not much in the way of life choices that I think I could do better, and I think 100K would be a good push-off point to start getting to a better place and more than I could get if I tried to save money from 18, since I don't know any lotto numbers or anything else financially useful. This question hurts my heart. I'm 25. I've worked so hard to get the degree, buy myself a house, get a gorgeous dog and a good job. I have everything I could possibly want. 100K would pay off most of my remaining home loan. I could stop working full-time, but I regret my 23 years. If I had known that I had bipolar disorder back then, my life would have been so different. If I knew what I know now, I could do it perfectly. I could avoid making the mistakes I made. I could focus on making more friends and dating. I would have an extra 7 years to push myself further in my learning. It's a bittersweet choice. Everything I've worked for would be gone, but I could end up going so much further. Depends. Am I reset to the year 1998 when I turned 18? Do I have my current knowledge and can make bets? Stock picks? Do I still get to meet the people and pets that I haven't met yet? Am I just reset to being born in 2003 instead of 1980? I'm now an 18-year-old, expected to go to college or get a starter job. If so, do I get to keep everything I currently have like my partner? Well, I don't have her, but you know what I mean. My house, retirement accounts, and so on. Am I still chronologically 41 years old but I'm reset to biologically 18 years old? I just get to add 23 years to my natural life and health span? The answer to almost every scenario here is reset, but it does depend. I guess it could be no if I don't get to meet my partner, but that's about it. I'd choose 18. I'm now 39 and weigh nearly 400 pounds. At 18 I was a decently built 200. As long as I could take my knowledge back with me, I'd make sure I don't gain the weight and I'm better off financially. I don't need to be a billionaire, but a few $100 million would be nice. One of the cars I want is around $75 million. So that would take a chunk of it. I'd do most other things the same. I like my job and am pretty successful. I'd also want to take my current dog back with me. Oh my god. In 17 days, age 18 will be 5 freaking years ago for me. Oh god. Just can't ignore feeling ancient to say. Take the 100K. Absolutely. I wouldn't want to relive any of the several deaths in that time or the unsuccessful coming out as trans to my mom, so yeah, nah. 100K undoes my college debt and sets me up well to just keep at it. And honestly, really, In general, I'd just be so happy to get even 5K a year more than I do. Sucks so bad to go into debt to get a degree only to barely even make enough anyway.